En este momento los están viendo en Veracruz, los están viendo en Monterrey, los están viendo en Chihuahua, los están viendo en diferentes de nuestros campus y por supuesto pues les mandamos un hola a todos y cada uno de ellos, ¿no? Entonces, pues estamos, como dijimos, muy contentos de tener todas estas actividades y precisamente hoy que tenemos la oportunidad de tener a Ricardo Bacani, que es un maestro de la parte de Nava, pero también un especialista en las cuestiones de inteligencia artificial. Entonces nos da muchísimo gusto que Ricardo esté hoy con nosotros. Va a dar precisamente un refuerzo, una liga de la conferencia que tuvimos de One Day Conference el año pasado, ligado a todos estos temas de inteligencia artificial. Y por supuesto, pues todos estos son preámbulos de información que ustedes estarán ocupando para poder participar en el workshop que tendremos a partir de las 11 en adelante para trabajar con todos ustedes. Entonces, bueno, pues sin más, Ricardo, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Israel.
Your audience.
Thank you, Israel. Thank you, everyone. So nice to meet you guys. We're here today to talk about artificial intelligence in multimedia, let's say, both from graphic design to media design. But first, I want to introduce you who I am. So I studied in NABA. I studied graphic design and art direction for 3 years. And then I did my master in 3D animation and VFX. So I wanted to work so much in the production of movies and films. These are some of the activities I did lately in the last 3 years, because as a passionate for whatever it's technical, I've been studying a lot artificial intelligence in generative AI, especially for creation of multimedia assets like images and videos. And those are some of the workshops and activities and talk I did, not just in Italy, but also around Europe in the last 3 years. So what you're seeing here is a very interesting slide that I often start my courses with, because it has so many questions about, is it artificial intelligence good to use? How do we use it? Is it ethical? Can be used in design, and how? So this is something that really makes a catch, you know, as a cover slide. As you know, artificial intelligence can create very nice images, especially lately. Those are some works from 2.5 years ago with Midjourney. So as you can imagine, this is super important when it comes to, for example, conceptualization. Okay, so the first part of the research of any design practice. So what you're seeing here is something related maybe to the world of product design. It can be used also in architecture. Okay. This is work we did with interior design. Okay. As you can imagine, instead of working on the materials, lighting, textures, and all these things, we just give the program some kind of very simple render, like ambient occlusion or depth map, and this can create so many variations of the same room. Okay, you don't have to wait for the render as we did before. Very important tool for the conceptualization, as I was mentioning. Those are some works on graphic design. This was some of my students working on advertisings. Okay, they identified this Swedish brand of interior, and then they built this multi-subject campaign, recontextualizing those objects in those ADVs with natures, basically. It can also be used in fashion. This was a project from 3 years ago, so it was the early days of artificial intelligence. We used it to recontextualize the shootings. We call this AI shootings, AI fashion shootings. So those were basically students with those dresses created by them, but we changed the background, we changed their look using AI. This was a project from media design. The student wanted to create something related to motion capture. He was super technical, so he wanted to recreate, those type of movie sets like Avatar, for example. Okay, so he wanted to see this artificial intelligence live. Here are some other examples. We also tested some natural language coding using language models like ChatGPT or Gemini. And we asked them to create some codes for JavaScript or for HTML in order to create content that then can be hosted on websites, for example. This is another example of a very simple website created with traditional techniques, but all the assets and the ideas were created with the artificial intelligence. It's a tarot, a website where every time you click, there is an API connected to ChatGPT that's recreating the output, like what's in the let's say what the tarot is talking about. But every time you refresh, it's different. So here was Midjourney, ChatGPT, and a bit of Photoshop and traditional UX and UI design. And most importantly, audiovisuals. So last couple of years, I've been working a lot with audiovisuals. So how to use those AI to create sounds, musics, sound effects, 3D, everything for a multimedia production. So just some couple of examples, but then I have a huge case history that I want to show you with more narrative type of works. This is some kind of a hypothetical clip, video clip for a Lana Del Rey song. Okay. So let's take a step back. So we said it's very good for mood board, for example. Why? Again, conceptualization. We work with prompts. So AI wants you to talk to it with natural language. So you need to be very good at describing what you want, using the technical jargon, using your visual culture, using the correct words and keywords in order for the AI to give you what you want. So as designer, we want control over it. As you're seeing from those projects, every time I stress to my students that the most important thing is the workflow, not the tool. So you are the intelligent being here. You need to connect those dots and make this work for you. This was an example with the same prompt with just a few words like theater mask, Italian vibes, movie shot, theater. Okay, those were the keywords. But then removing some keywords, the images could be very different, but all connected with some kind of art direction between them. So the key here is the iteration. So we need to replicate and test so many. Since it's very fast, we can test so many images, and then it's going to be your visual culture to be the one who selected the most effective one, the good one that you want to use in your project. That was the image I was looking for from the previous one. Again, variations, it means that you can test also different AI models, different AI platforms, different tool, open source, closed source. Those are just the same prompt, but on 2 different platforms. Then once you have your image, you could go with AI editing. So out painting, in painting, modifying the clothes, okay? And then AI can also help you, most importantly, to think about actions, emotions, and evocative stuffs. For example, you can find an inspirational image like one of those, and then drift on the same concept until you finally have an image like this that I want to call key shots. So as in a traditional methodology, we use storyboard, okay? Your aim is gonna be to create some key shots because the technique we are gonna use in this workshop is gonna be image to video to create some audio visuals. So if the starting image is good, think in scenes, and then this would be an amazing video. Basically, from a written prompt, we got deliverable stuff like magic. And this magic, again, is through prompted design. Don't worry, we will talk a lot about this. This is just an example for you to remember that we have some key points here. Every prompting technique can be a bit different in different platforms, but this is a general thing that we need to focus on. So the first line, the green one, is referring to the type of image, the media you want to use. So always ask first what you want in terms of media. A lot of people forget about this. So don't say, create this. He's going to be already creating. You need to focus on what. So the first thing is it a photograph? Is it an analogical photograph? Is it a selfie? So define and direct the style like you are a movie director, okay? So is it an illustration? Which type of illustration? A sketched one, black and white? Is it a brush painting? So be sure you define the media. Then we have the white one, which is the subject. So with natural language, you can describe what you have in mind. Basically, in this case, for example, a lamp done by this brand. It could be with this feature and that feature, made of glass, reflections, blah, blah, blah. And then don't forget the set and settings, that basically the mood you want to give to this image. Is it a cold image? Is it a warm image? Does it have filters? What is the technical things that can help us? Does it have a background? Does it have contextualization, like it's in a room? Which kind of room? And finally, something that I called art direction. So it's very important, especially if you do multi-subjects, multiple images, and that's what we're gonna do. So if we want a video, we need coherent images. So throughout your prompts, you need to specify with some type of keywords that are only yours, that will define the type of style, basically. In this case, was all referring to rendering engines and 3D environment, let's say. Okay, big debunking. Is it actually intelligence? No. So here's a bit more, we jump in a bit more of a more technical area. So in general, like in the world lately, we are seeing a lot of articles about artificial intelligence. It's basically a marketing keyword nowadays, so something very catchy that wants you to click on the article and read about it. But I've seen that basically the words are two, just for you to be sure. There are marketing and productivity words, so language model, multimodal AIs like ChatGPT, or AI agents, coding assistants. So we are not in this world today. We're gonna work on this other one. So generative AI for multimedia. So what we will be working with is gonna be computer vision, image processing, synthetic voices, sound effects, 3D, whatever. If you want to experiment, it's fine, but we have few time. So it's actually not artificial intelligence, spoiler, it's machine learning. It's something a bit more complex, but some keywords and takeaways I want to give you guys is that these tools are inherently generative, okay? So they are not searching, because my mom always asked me, search it on ChatGPT. They don't search, they generate, okay? They learn first, there is a data set training that we were talking about, but then they generate. It means that every time the same prompt can give you different images, different outputs. So remember this. It's unpredictable if you want. They are syntactical machines, especially ChatGPT. So they work with tokens, with language. They don't have semantics. This is very important. Semantics is the realm of understanding things. If you're talking about love, they don't know what love is, but they know that us as humans, we talk about love, saying kisses, hugs, warmth, okay? So they make a cloud of keywords that they're gonna do just best prediction of what you want. Then again, statistical and biased and condescending. So basically, they are trained on data, and data has humans gathering data or inputting data or selecting data. So there's gonna be always bias. It means that you're asking for a general CEO, we give you a white male, okay? If you you need to specify, for example, that you want a women CEO and things like this. Next, okay. Okay, this is something that we need to keep in mind. So we are mainly working on those, we will be working on those tools if we have time. So anything that is related to images will be text to image, so from prompt to some pixels, image to image, and then we have in painting, out painting, regional prompting, upscale, and control net. So we will go into depth on these things when we open the software. For videos, we don't have time to learn how to use videos locally, AI videos locally. We are gonna work with the closed source online platform. So we're gonna create some accounts and use just the free credits that they gave us. Same with the audio. And there are other things that you might see on my case history. So we also worked on 3D and more advanced stuff, because I'm also very oriented to this technical stuff, but we won't have much time to do this in 2 days. This is the workflow. That's what I was talking about. So this is basically, we're going to work with the text to image, basically, with the Stability Matrix, which is a software installed in the PC lab. We are going to work on the prompt definition. So we're going to have 6 to 7 prompts. You will refine them, but those prompts will generate your final image. Your final image might not be in the correct format for a video, so we need to work with that. Maybe we open Photoshop, we readjust the structure, the frame of this image. So we do have traditional methodology. Then we jump to some online platform to animate those key shots. So we're going to have very short scenes, animated pixels from your key shots. So you need to think this way. So if you need to build a narration, you need to visualize what you want to create and work this way. Finally, we will be editing all of this, putting everything inside whatever software you use for editing. Okay, so we're gonna stitch the clip together and put some audios or voiceover or sound effects if needed. Often these two things you might want to think about them in relationship, obviously, because we are talking about audio visuals. So don't forget that maybe if a sound effects last 4 seconds, you need 4-second clip. Same if you have a voiceover narrator while a person is walking. So you need to understand that this sentence, maybe it will last 12 seconds. So you need to fill those 12 seconds of audio with 12 seconds of clips. Okay, so we just need to be plastic in this thing. Yes, that was all. Let me jump to another slideshow. This was more of an introduction. And I don't want to go too technical because perhaps it's not needed, but let's see, maybe I would skip some slide here. Where to go here? Yeah. Okay, so this was my very first approach to Stable Diffusion back in 2021. So the very first time I tried to use it, I asked for a universe nebula. The word DALL-E wasn't already out there, DALL-E, you know, from OpenAI. And I read some article about this Stable Diffusion. So I downloaded it and installed it and tested it. And my first image was this, like, give me a universe nebula, you know, those galaxy things. And I was impressed because I said, wow, amazing. It was very small, like 512 pixels squared. I remember I dropped it in Google search, reverse image search, to see if it was a real image. It was not, obviously. It was generated, but it was so similar. There were so many other images like this on the web. So this led me to this was how it was back in the day. So I didn't know anything about the internet, and then I asked for Universe Nebula. Hopefully today it's way more easier, and there are open interfaces for you to use that we will see soon. Remember that nowadays, back in the days, that was not possible, but now we also have negative prompting. So this is crucial, guys, because if prompting works as we saw, so like this, with the structure, okay, type of image, subject, blah, 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 is if you ask for an analogic photograph of a person, in the negative, I usually put 3D, cartoon, brush, strokes, so everything that is unrelated to analogic photography. Because if you don't put those things, maybe the AI will say hallucinate, so improvise, will just, you know, give whatever. So we don't want whatever. As designer, we want something specific. We want control. Again, workflow. So you had, usually we had just us as human as power. So with our time limitation, research skills, now we have AI that can help us to save time and, you know, be faster in generating and selecting stuff. So this is a powerful tool, again, especially if you want to go to a client before you to sell your idea. So you have a prototype. You have something that is already roughly working with the pace, with the tone of voice, and you give something to the client or professor to approve your idea. To say, okay, I like how you think, I give you the budget, or I give you the okay to work on that for the final project. So this is, again, something about the workflow that I'm super impressed with. So in less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds, from a small square image, you readapt it with Photoshop interrupts like this. So you have a small image, you do upscale, you do some, outpainting, and then you finally have a frame like this, outpaint, and then you can animate it. Okay, it's gonna be super fast. In 2 minutes, and this, guys, trust me, for me, that I'm coming from audiovisuals, multimedia, this was science fiction, okay? 3 years ago, this was science fiction. From a concept to visualization in 2 minutes, this is unbelievable. So that's why I'm hyped about this technology. How it works, I swear I'll be the shortest as possible on this. So what you're seeing here is an image. And what you see that those pixels here manage to hallucinate content based on what you write. How does this work? Let's see. I try to make it more clear as possible. Obviously, super simplify. So we have 3 things happening here. The first one is the most important, I think, is the data set. So what is a data set? Imagine a data set, very simple, simplifying a lot. Imagine it like an Excel file in which there are, it's a folder, okay? Imagine it as a folder in which there are 2 things, a lot of image, like billions of image, and one Excel file. In this Excel file, you have basically the list of the name of each JPEGs and what they represent, like in columns. So JPEG 1 is a cat, and you have prompt a cat. JPEG 2 is a dog, and you have dog. So why this is important? Because dataset, as we mentioned, could be biased, or that dataset could not have that information. Let's make an example. You ask with your prompt for a Persian cat, okay? In the dataset, there is no such thing as a Persian cat, because the AI doesn't know how it looks. So when you prompt it, you press enter, and you get a cat with a turban, okay, like an Arabic cat. Why that? Because it has the concept of Persian rulers, of Persian, I don't know, Arabic, Prince of Persia, maybe, from the game. So again, let's see if type of coating, okay? If you ask for Siamese cat, you may have 2 merged cat. Why? Because we have Siamese children, okay, Siamese persons. So this means that if the concept is not there, it will never be able to generate it. So this is the very important thing. So dataset will not only drive your content, but also the style. Again, if it doesn't have the style of Van Gogh, you can ask for a Van Gogh painting, but it will never give you. So you have to find other ways to describe Van Gogh. So that's why visual culture is important. So to decompose, to deconstruct what it's made of out of your, more narrative, natural language. Another important thing is the language model. So obviously your prompt is written in English. We have to write in English, especially for images. You have a prompt. This prompt needs to be understood by a language model, like ChatGPT, some AI related to language, and it makes actually the paper talk about semantic connection, because this is a neural network, is something that has weights. So each token, so each sentence, each word in your sentence will be counting as one token. This is the weight that the AI gives to the prompt. So if imagine you have a long, very long prompt, your idea gets diluted. Okay, there are too many information to be sticking to. So we have to find a compromise between synthesis and description. So it's very hard. That's why also negative prompting is very important. So as you see, the language model makes, let's say, semantic connection. This means that if you ask for a pet, for example, it will either give you, like, it's a 50-50 option, will be either a dog or a cat. It will not be an iguana, okay? Because not many persons have an iguana as a pet, but they do. So again, it's statistical weight of concepts. Finally, the diffusion. So the magic trick that we saw before up here, okay? This diffusion step. Okay, when you generate an image, you will see that slowly it will appear from nothing. Obviously, let's say something is generated from a guy working on computer vision in MIT. So another bit of code is created for something from computer science at Stanford, so on. So no one has a really full picture of what's going on. We have modules and things connected that are, related to this type of very complex stuff that we don't care about as designers. So just to jump back to the tools, I was mentioning DALL-E, the first one that came out. Then Stable Diffusion was a big thing back in the days, especially Stable Diffusion 1.5. And then Midjourney. Midjourney is a closed source. You pay for it. It's very good. But there are alternatives. So for this workshop, we will try to use open source tools, so free tools. This is basically the hierarchy of the most important ones. So in 2022, Stable Diffusion 1.5 was the benchmark, so everyone was using that. Then Stable Diffusion XL came out. It means those are datasets, okay? So those are the big folders with all the image. Stable Diffusion has billions of image, and the more you go up here, the more billion images are there, like 5 billions, 6 billions, 11 billions, okay? They rise in quantity, they rise in quality, in file formats. For example, Stable Diffusion, the first one, used to be only square image. So here's some recap. So Stable Diffusion 1.5 had that it was super fast. It had more aspect ratio, so you could create the vertical image, a landscape, and same with Flux. So Flux is the standard nowadays, so that's what we want to use for the workshop. And those tools, again, resolution cheat sheets. So this will help us when we have to prompt in the specific of our images, especially those resolutions that are always multiple of 16 due to the math. Okay, there is 2 to the power of, and it gives you number related to 16. So we always need to use those multiples. You will see it's going to be easy. Don't worry. And finally, there are so many other modules that didn't make it through. So especially, I want to talk a little bit about the new module last week. AI is stressing because it's ever changing, so I cannot keep the pace of it. And last week, OpenAI gave us this new technique, which is not based on diffusion. So it's a completely different one. It's called autoregressive model. and it works basically in lines. So it will generate your image line by line, just to make it short. This is revolutionary because the time are super short and it cannot make like mistakes, let's say. So if it sees there is an arm here, it will only give you one arm. If it sees there's already 5 fingers, it will give you for sure 5 fingers. This was something that with diffusion was a bit more tricky. We need to use refinements, we need to use in painting and more things in order to fix those stuff. Those are the softwares. Let's say there are 3 types of software. One was more entry level. That's one that we want to use. It's called Forge. Forge will work inside Stability Matrix. Stability Matrix, you have to imagine it as a sort of Adobe Creative Cloud, a platform from where you can download many other softwares. And all of these software are open. So open means that they don't have an icon, they don't have a fancy, interface. They just raw. They just give you a very terrible HTML page from which you have to, navigate and use it. The professional one is working with nodes, and nowadays the top notch of AI, and it's called Comfy UI. Unfortunately, I don't have time to explain you, but if you want to research further, that's where you have to go. I really suggest you follow the page called Stable Diffusion on Reddit, because that's where I document myself. So most of this AI information, I found them on Discord or Reddit, following the channels of those type of tools and platforms. So yeah, Forge is the one we will be working. Catalogated to define if it's text-to-image AI, if it's sound effects AI, which one works best. So I gave you some resources, let's say. And that's it. From my students from 2.5 years, basically. They are all different because I leave the students open. I only give technical constraint. So I say, I want a video that lasts like this. You use this tool, blah, blah, blah. But then the content, they are free to design whatever they want. So whatever is in their cards, whatever is there, is that make them passionate about it. So you will see that we have like this. Any questions so far? Are you interested? Yes. Are you hyped? We need some hype. Eh? Okay, so let's jump to the final part. Let's start with the first one. Can you hear? Yeah.
Long ago, humanity could only gaze at the stars, imagining the stories of the cosmos. But now, we have set foot into this unknown expanse.
It's a video game trailer.
journey is far from over. What kind of world awaits at the next stop? We are always on the path of exploration.
Okay, this was from multimedia design class from the postgraduate students in cinema and animation. This was from a student from design, so he didn't know anything about videos. So I helped him a little bit with the construction of his idea, but his idea is amazing. It's about a sensibilization campaign, like an ADV.
Oh, such a cute kitten. I really want to lie down with her comfortably. That would be so healing. Conflict erupted in the north as a crowd of protesters clashed violently. Shit, look, those politicians will never really solve the problem. Why do people always have to go through this separation? It's too cruel for me. These weird happy dogs are so funny. Why can't I be beautiful and charming like her? Oh, rich man. Wow, this shoe has finally dropped in price. So cute. Shit, I hate this. So cute. Walk by it. I hate this. I hate this.
Okay, so it's a critique on the use we have on social media. So it's a very powerful concept. Just, again, to sell it to a client, to say, I want to work it this way. And it's already, 90% done product. Next one.
And though neither of them could hear a word, they spoke to each other about things that need to be said, about how good it was to love someone, so that you didn't have to be scared, even of the hardest things.
The importance of siblings in life. And we have timer saying that those are not real siblings, but like all siblings around the world. Memories of different lives.
Then she saw Berg, and he was scared. You could see that. Without him, he wouldn't be able to get out of there. Sooner or later, he would plunge into the depths when he couldn't hold on anymore. Roger took the leather strap that she carried around her belt and let it down to her. Here, you can start climbing when I call. How many times are you going to save my life?
The voiceover was from a poet from Sweden. Next one. It was more about the style. They wanted to recreate something difficult to do with 3D. And they worked a lot on sound effects. Most sound effects are AI generated. Or experimental. It's about internet subcultures like vaporwave, liminal spaces. This is a poem from Kazakhstan. The students is from visual arts.
I was promised of a brown gold am turning gray. The black, but not of tea, and the white, but not of milk. And I, burning gray in between, asking myself, where am I going? I am in flames. I who was promised of containment. Of expanding path. The black, but that of cinder, and the white, but that of canvas. And I, expanding path in between, asking myself, where am I going?
This is the format of visual poetry. It's like a moving mood board over her words. She was so excited about knowing this technique. Then 1 week after the workshop, so all of those videos, guys, are created in 2 days, 3 days maximum. And she was so excited that next week she sent me, she said, I worked on a new version. I like it more. Can you please show this? She worked entirely on her own.
I was promised of a brown gold am turning gray. Black, but not of tea, and the white, not of milk. And I, burning gray in between, asking myself, where am I going?
Another activity.
It's not just that. I feel like you don't listen to me.
I do listen to you, but I don't know how to fix it.
Do you hear it? It's our song.
Keep up forever. Know that you feel. Sometimes a single chord is enough to remind us why we keep dancing together. Switch to Spotify Premium.
I find it so funny. Again, it's a cool idea, very simple, 5 scenes. They are arguing in the metro, and then their song came up, and it's a good idea for an app. And I always ask students to list the AI that they use. So if you want to know more about those projects, you can just have a look at the final frame of their videos.
Have you ever asked yourself, what if we could fly? Imagine no more traffic, no more waiting in lines. Just you, soaring through the air, an endless horizon, a world of infinite possibilities. But do we ever want to come back down? Are we really gonna be freer?
Alive, filled with whispers of folklore. An archaeologist team has found traces of the great legend, Bigfoot, close to a river. The team spots a large figure in a distance. They carefully position themselves to capture a clear footage of the monster. But no time for focus.
This is very complex. This is one of the most complex one, even if it doesn't seem, because they also trained on the voice of David Attenborough for having the documentary feeling. And there are also a lot of 3D objects. So they used AI to create, like this is a 3D object. Okay, it's rotating with traditional technique, but it's AI generated from text. Same with there is also a tiny camera here somewhere. This is a 3D also. The camera is 3D and they track it to the footage with traditional VFX. So it has many complex features. And at the end, they also managed to have a rigging. So they created an AI Bigfoot and then they used a rigging on top of it to animate it. So it was very interesting. The next one is from a student from, I think, I don't remember, Central Asia, but she lived for 4 years in Japan. And she has so many good memories for the first 4 years of life, but she could never tell to his friends what it means, because those memories are very simple, like the smell of the tatami or the tea. And they seem trivial, but that's what she has in mind. So this is a crazy way to, put out your feelings, your dreams.
昔の記憶が静かに呼びかける。洋館の洗いたての香り。母の手作りの温かいご飯。春を迎える桜餅の甘さ。夏の蝉の声。父の自転車の下で書かれたきれいに舗装されている玄関に入れるお守りの普通のと襖を開けると、そして破いてしまった日の記憶、超上で滑り込んだ瞳、通学路の会話が今も耳に残る。雨に濡れた色の匂い。日向でも好き。姉のピアノの撮影の家に囲まれた部屋、巨大なグランドピアノ、温かい蜂蜜入りのミルクの優しい味。私は幸せだった。私をもう一度思い返る。
This is so good. So you see, everyone has its own, brings its own emotion and sensibility to the projects. Next one is another advertising. Find it quite funny. There's a dog food advertising. Come on, yes.
Hi, I'm Shonda, and this is my dog Cheryl. Cheryl is my sweet little puppy. I love going out for walking. But deep down, I honestly can't wait for that bitch Cheryl to leave me the hell alone. As soon as she's gone, I like to unwind in a relaxing bath to wash away her smell. Dogs, am I right? After that, it's time for a little skincare. Lately, it's been my absolute passion. Then I head to the living room, watch some TV, and eventually I fall asleep. My favorite spot, Cheryl's bed, of course. When I wake up, I love calling my friends and ranting to them about Cheryl and her awful boyfriend, Max. Later, I treat myself to a gourmet meal, something both nutritious and unbelievably tasty. Royal Canon's newest treat. It's my absolute obsession, and all my friends agree. Oh, and did I mention? It's amazing for my digestive health. Don't worry, Cheryl will be cleaning up after me. Gotta run, hun. Enjoy your meal.
Couple more and then we finish. Oh no, finished. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you're hyped because we are gonna create something like this today.
Next time, I don't know where it's going to be. Okay. Very interesting.
Talk a bit.
It's very